Welcome to the Monsters Among Us podcast. This is episode 6, Thunderbirds.
Great topic today.
Yeah, definitely. We're diving into the legend of the Thunderbird. We've got some really fascinating accounts to look at, stories of this, monstrous bird from Native American folklore, but also some more modern sightings, too. Often described as just commanding the skies, huge wings, this kind of thunderous power associated with it.
That's right. And it's important to note, I think, that the Thunderbird isn't always presented as some gentle guardian.
No.
Far from it sometimes.
Right.
In many tales, it's really this primal force of nature, something that inspires both, awe, but also a good deal of terror.
Yeah, like raw power.
Exactly. You hear about lightning crackling around them, their wings literally creating the sound of thunder.
So the core idea, sort of threading through these legends, seems to be that these birds control the weather, essentially.
Right.
Rain, thunder, lightning.
Pretty much, yeah. And in some traditions, they even offered protection, like against evil spirits.
But it wasn't just a free service, right? There was a catch.
Oh, absolutely not. These beings demanded respect. Prayers, offerings, gifts.
Yeah.
You had to show reverence.
And if you didn't?
Well, that's when you might face their fury. Things could get destructive. It was a relationship built on, respect and maybe a little bit of fear.
Okay, so let's talk about what these things actually looked like, according to the reports. Because the descriptions seem, they seem all over the place.
They really do vary. Sometimes it's pictured as just a massive eagle, like unbelievably huge.
Right.
But other accounts describe something more prehistoric looking, almost like a pteranodon or some kind of flying reptile.
Pteranodon, well.
Yeah. But what's consistent, strangely enough, across many reports, even modern ones from, credible people like park rangers or police officers, is this description of a huge, dark bird. Just enormous wingspan. You have to ask, what are these people seeing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The obvious explanation is misidentification. Maybe a California condor? Or a really big eagle?
Sure, that's the skeptical take. And it's plausible for some sightings, maybe.
But
the sizes reported are often just staggering. Way bigger than any known condor or eagle. We're talking wingspans that defy easy explanation.
So that's where the more, let's say, out there theories come in, like a surviving pteranodon.
Exactly. It's highly speculative, of course. We don't have, a fossil record or clear proof.
Right, no body.
No body. But it does kind of capture the imagination when you hear these descriptions, doesn't it? It fits that monster bird image for some.
It definitely does. And going back to the Native American traditions, this wasn't just some weird bird they saw occasionally. It was deeply significant.
Oh, absolutely central to many cultures. It commanded this widespread fear, yes, but also profound respect. It wasn't just an animal. It was a powerful force.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Like the Arapaho tribe. They associated the Thunderbird with summer, with life-giving rain. But then you have the Algonquian tribes who saw it as this incredibly powerful spirit, almost a messenger or liaison to the creator.
So deeply woven into their cosmology, their understanding of the world.
Precisely. It shows how connected they felt this being was to the fundamental forces of nature and the spirit world.
Okay, but let's shift focus a bit, because not all encounters sound spiritual or awe-inspiring. Some sound downright scary, especially when you look at certain locations like the Bridgewater Triangle area. That place has a reputation, doesn't it?
It certainly does. A real hotspot for paranormal activity, unexplained phenomena, and it has strong ties to Native American history, spirits, and myths, too.
So it's like a convergence point.
It almost seems that way, yeah. The legends and sightings of things like the Thunderbird seem particularly potent there. It adds this extra layer of unease, like the place itself draws these things in.
Definitely unsettling. And speaking of unsettling, there's one story that really stands out, the one from Tucson, Arizona, back in 1890.
Ah, yes. The Tombstone Epitaph article. That's probably one of the most chilling and, frankly, bizarre accounts out there.
Tell us about it. What did these ranchers allegedly find?
Okay, so the story goes, 2 ranchers stumbled upon this. Well, they called it a winged monster. And their description wasn't just big bird. It was something else entirely.
How so?
They described it as looking like a giant alligator.
An alligator with wings?
Yeah, a huge reptilian body, a long sort of serpentine tail, and these vast leathery wings. The reported size was just immense, a 160-foot wingspan.
160 feet? That's astronomical.
Right, and a 92-foot body length, an 8-foot head with sharp teeth, and, get this, glowing eyes.
Okay, that is definitely not an eagle. That sounds truly monstrous. Very different from the typical Thunderbird image.
Worlds apart. Which makes you wonder, was this something completely different or just a really strange regional variation of the legend?
What happened in the encounter itself? It wasn't just found dead, was it?
No, no. According to the article, the creature seemed exhausted or maybe injured when they first found it.
Yeah.
But when they got closer,
Oh.
it reacted fiercely. They said its eyes were like burning with this wild light. It was clearly aggressive, even though it seemed weak.
So they felt threatened.
Apparently so. They ended up firing their rifles at it.
And then?
That's when it supposedly let out this enraged bellow. Imagine hearing that sound echoing out there.
Terrifying.
And even after being shot, it managed to struggle into the air and fly for, they estimated, several miles before it finally crashed and died. The sheer power, even wounded.
Wow. Just picturing that scene, two ranchers and this enormous, wounded, bellowing reptile bird.
Exactly. And the article describes them approaching the body afterwards with, a mix of awe and probably sheer terror.
I bet.
They got a close look at it then, confirmed the alligator-like body, the huge clawed feet, that monstrous head, and they specifically noted the texture of the wings smooth, like a bat or serpent, not feathered.
Smooth wings. Okay. Did they? Did they bring anything back? Proof?
Well, the story claims they did. They reportedly cut off a piece of the wingtip as evidence.
A piece of the wing. Now that leads to the whole photo thing, doesn't it? Because the story didn't end in 1890.
Right. Decades later, in 1963, this writer, Jack Pearl, wrote an article for Saga magazine. And he claimed something extraordinary.
What was that?
He claimed that the original Tombstone Epitaph article from 1890 actually included a photograph.
A photograph of the creature.
Yes. A photo supposedly showing the dead creature nailed spread-eagled to a barn wall, with 6 men standing in front of it for scale.
Whoa. Okay, that would be definitive proof if it existed.
It would be incredible. And Pearl wasn't the only one. Other writers and researchers later claimed they'd also seen this mysterious photo over the years.
But has anyone actually produced it?
That's the million-dollar question again, isn't it? No. Despite all the claims, despite searches through archives, the photograph has never surfaced.
So it might never have existed. Or it's lost. Or it was a hoax layered onto the original story.
It may be any of those.
Yeah.
It's become its own legend, really the legend of the lost Thunderbird photo. But whether the photo was real or not, the story itself, that description from 1890, has certainly stuck. It's deeply embedded in Arizona folklore, that image of the giant reptilian flying creature. It persists.
It really does leave you with this incredibly vivid and frankly quite terrifying image, doesn't it? That tombstone creature. You can almost imagine hearing something huge moving through the desert sky on a quiet night.
Absolutely. And maybe that's the power of these Thunderbird legends in all their forms. They kind of represent the wild, untamed power you feel in a massive storm, or the deep mysteries still hidden in the natural world.
A reminder that maybe we don't know everything that's out there.
Precisely. Well, hopefully our listeners can sleep tonight without imagining those immense wings beating overhead.
Let's hope so. Thanks for exploring these accounts with us.